What the word world really means. Many people presume that where Christ had told the apostles to take the gospel to however it's translated, all the world or all nations, that it means that every single person and nation on the geographical world is who the gospel was intended for. But in truth, there is a definite article in the Greek accompanying the word for nations, and it should have been translated as the nations, not all nations, referring to particular nations and not just any nations. The same circumstance exists where we read at the end of Matthew chapter 28, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world." It should have said, "Teach all the nations," and from the use of the word world in the last verse, we see it could not have referred to the geographical world, rather the society at that time. Let us imagine that we are in a library and I said to you, "Pass me the books." Would you imagine I am referring to every single book in the library? By stating the books with a definite article, I must be referring to specific books, not all books. But even if I added "pass me all of the books," again I must be referring to specific books. Even if I mean a lot of books, I would not mean the entire library. So in order to know which particular books I'm referring to, you would need to know the context. And in order to understand Christ's context, one should actually read the entire Bible. Now as it goes, the whole Bible is about the children of Israel alone. Even the first 11 chapters of Genesis are simply there to explain how we get to the call of Abraham. They explain the history and ancestry leading up to Abraham. Genesis was written by Moses to give the children of Israel the history and foundation of the world. From chapter 12 in Genesis onwards, the Bible is exclusively only about Abraham's family, leading to the children of Israel. So why do people imagine that Christ suddenly was for everybody? So who could the nations be that Christ and the apostles were referring to? These must be the Israelites who had been continuously dispersing amongst the Adamic nations. Additionally, even though the children of Israel were divorced and deported around 720 BC by the Assyrians, they were promised mercy and to once again become a great people once more. Therefore, 700 years later, by the time of Christ, the dispersed Israelites prior to these deportations, combined with the deported Israelites, had certainly become many nations, and these specifically are the nations Christ and the apostles are referring to, the nations to whom the gospel was intended for. So let